On Capitol Hill, lawmakers are weighing in on the conflict. It comes as the House of Representatives remains at a standstill ahead of an expected vote on a new speaker this week. Congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us with more. What is the reaction that you're seeing, Scott, on Capitol Hill? Is this a divisive issue among lawmakers?
Hey, Doug, there's an immediate sense Congress is going to have to appropriate some money to help Israel with its response or with the humanitarian needs that emanate from Israel. And the problem is, well, the problems are many. First of all, as you mentioned, Congress at this moment is paralyzed. It does not have a functioning U.S. House of Representatives, but also a more fundamental issue. Members of Congress need intelligence and information about what's going on. The information coming out of the Middle East is imperfect, so senators are scrambling to have a briefing for all 100 members. The Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, has issued a statement saying he's going to try to cobble together some type of immediate briefing for U.S. senators through the course of this day. Here's the statement from Senator Schumer that he's told senators he'll try to have a classified briefing they can receive in their home states because, Doug, U.S. senators aren't here this week. They have a home state recess work period, and they all need to get up on the same page about what's going on. As for the U.S. House, briefings would have to be informal at this point because there are no committee hearings, there's no U.S. House session because there is no Speaker of the House. An imperfect situation as Congress tries to respond.
Congress, and we have a Senate briefing. What potential next steps beyond that, Scott, are you hearing about?
Some are easy, some are hard. Let's start with this one, Doug. There's going to be a resolution, a formal statement of the U.S. Congress, in essence, a formal statement of the U.S. people in support of Israel. But they can't pass those resolutions while there's no functioning U.S. House. It's one of the pressures they're trying to apply here is we need to get a speaker in place so we can do the things we need to do, including issuing a formal resolution. But there is the more challenging dynamic of getting funding, potentially billions of dollars, through a Congress which stymied itself because of concerns about money, concerns about spending. There's not even a guarantee they can get Ukraine aid out of this Congress. So to free up money for Israel may be politically easier, but they've got to get themselves up and running again. And Doug, as this week begins, they are simply nowhere on that. There's still a pretty divisive race for the Speaker of the House seat. There are two high-profile Republicans going at it, accumulating endorsements, and there's going to be a candidates forum tomorrow that doesn't promise to be simple or quick.
Now, we showed some of the polling earlier, speaking of the Speaker, Scott, and there's a difference between what all voters might be hoping for compared to Republican voters. Which topics are those campaigning for Speaker more likely to focus on?
Let's get right into the polling, Doug. You mentioned it. The polling from CBS News shows that people would prefer, by a large margin, a new Republican speaker who would work with Democrats, but also cut federal spending. Those are somewhat mutually exclusive dynamics because a lot of the spending Republicans want to cut is spending that is almost sacrosanct to Democrats. Social safety net programs, climate change initiatives, diversity initiatives, those things may run counter to each other. But the desire to work with Democrats, which is shown overwhelmingly in the polling, Doug, is going to be an important dynamic as Ohio Republican Jim Jordan, chair of the House Judiciary Committee, a noted flamethrower who has been aggressive in his investigations of President Biden, tries to win over some of those Republicans. But also, look at the polling. 72% say they'd like the new Republican speaker, at least prefer the new Republican speaker, to try to impeach Joe Biden, which would cut towards what Jim Jordan's been doing. The other top challenger, Steve Scalise, the House Majority Leader from Louisiana, has been working behind the scenes over the weekend, CBS News has learned, making calls, trying to line up surrogates, making the argument he's a unifier, somebody who can bring together the different factions, and there are many, of the Republican conference. Doug, we'll find out a lot more tomorrow when these two candidates make their case. But this week begins with no indication either is anywhere near the 217 votes needed to be the new speaker, which means indefinitely the U.S. House doors remain locked, the lights remain off, and half of Congress remains paralyzed.
But other than that, things are good. Congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane, thanks so much for joining us.